Good day, boys and girls. I hope you're all keeping healthy. This is our first video lesson. I'm going to just recap on some of the work assignments that I've given you to do at home. In this presentation, LB will refer to your textbook, so the pages in your textbook as such. And then these lessons, I will only focus on important work for future examination. So I have not covered every single task I've given you for homework, but I still require you to do them. So we'll go through all of that once we are back in the classroom and fully operational again. Also, with regards to your formal assessments, those will be marked by me once we are back again in the classroom. The first task that I want to look at is task 4 on page 77. This is a language activity. Activity 8, or language activities 8 to 10, but I'm only going to quickly explain to you noun and verb phrases. All that it boils down to is a noun phrase is a group of words that act as a noun. So instead of only having the noun, there will be a group of words that will act as a noun in your sentence. Remember, a noun is the name given to a person, a place, or an object. It is something you can experience with your senses, and it is a word that has a singular and a plural form. So in our example, the rising water level was scary to everyone on the beach. The highlighted or underlined portion here is your noun phrase then. Your verb phrase is a group of words that act as a verb. As you will remember, a verb is our doing or our action words in our sentences. So in this example, a strange-looking man quickly ran away from the scene. Our verb in the sentence, strictly speaking, is the word ran, past tense of run. Quickly is an adverb. Remember, it describes our verb. But in the sentence, quickly ran away from the scene, it is an entire phrase that acts as a verb in the sentence. If this is a bit confusing and I'm going a bit too fast, boys and girls, don't be concerned. We will cover this work again once we are back in the classroom, if it is necessary at all. Task 5, page 78 to 79. This is on how to write directions. I just quickly want to go through the theory on writing directions on page 78. It's indicated under Unit 7. Remember to always include a heading when you indicate to indicate the main idea or the purpose of your directions. You need to number each step. There must be only one action for each step. Remember, you won't say fill the kettle and boil the kettle and pour the cup. Okay, so there will be one action for each step. Always use the command form of the verb, like we've explained in class on previous occasions. You won't say, if you would please, and if it's not too much trouble for you, could you possibly switch on the kettle? No, you just say switch on the kettle. You start with the verb, the command form of the verb, and then you always use the simple present tense. In activity 12 on page 79, it's about writing directions based on a street map that they've given you. So please make sure that you spell the names of the streets correctly. Task 6, pages 80 to 81. This is a poetry activity. It focuses on rhythm, rhyme, and messages in poetry. Also, again, the correct spelling and pronunciation of the words rhythm and rhyme. Even though both words have a Y as they sound, it's different. It's pronounced differently, rhythm and rhyme. So please look at that, and also the spelling of the two words. That's very important. So rhythm is similar to rhythm in music. It is a particular pattern that is formed by the words in the poem and then the subsequent emotion that it creates. Similar, very similar to music, to songs, boys and girls. And then rhyme is always used at the end of our sentences for our purposes in grade 8. And rhyme are words that sound the same, or rhyming words are words that sound the same. And it is sometimes used in a poem to create a specific or a predetermined effect, to emphasize a certain idea or a certain word that the poet wants us to focus on. Then message in poetry, this is purely the message that the poet is trying to get across to the reader, or what he wants you to ponder on, to think about, or to conjure up certain emotions from the reader's side, what he wants you to feel. So that's it in a nutshell. Then task 8 on page 88, this is about direct and indirect speech. We've done this lots of times. Remember, there are very specific rules and guidelines when it comes to direct and indirect speech. Your punctuation for direct speech is very important. Always use inverted commas to indicate the direct words of the speaker. And then there's always typically an introductory verb. So in our example, Jan said, I will visit my grandparents in December. Our introductory verb is said. And then please look at where we place the punctuation. So directly after your introductory verb is your comma, or sometimes a colon, but for our purposes we use a comma. Then you start with your quotation marks, and then capital I will visit my grandparents in December. This is a statement sentence, so it ends with a full stop, and then you close your inverted commas to indicate that that is where your speaker's direct words end. That's very important. Please study, if you do examples on this, make sure that you get the punctuation correct. It's very important, or else your sentence is wrong. Okay, the next slide is indirect speech. Some rules for indirect speech. Statement sentences must have the word that, and question sentences will have the word if. Your pronouns must change. Your tense changes to the past tense. And your time words will change. Time words, today becomes that day, yesterday becomes the previous day, and tomorrow typically becomes the following day. So Mani said, I am so tired. I've just given you 2 examples here. Mani said that he was so tired, because this is a normal statement sentence. You can see there's the inclusion of the word that. I changes to he, so your pronoun changes. And then am changes to was, from present tense to past tense. Same with Peter asked, have you seen my bicycle, Dave? Peter asked if Dave had seen his bicycle. So I've highlighted there a few different colors. You can just have a look at that. Again, if you have any questions or concerns about this, we will address this and do some revision exercises anyhow when we are back in class. Yeah, I've just given you some examples of how the tenses change when you convert from direct to indirect speech. You will see they've indicated here, if it's in the simple present tense, the sun shines, then it changes to he said that the sun shone. So just look at these examples. I'm not going to go through every one of them. They are quite self-explanatory. Is shiny becomes was shining, etc., etc. And then lastly, your formal assessments. I just want to give you some guidance on 2 of the assessments that I think you might have a bit of difficulty with. So task 9 on pages 90 to 91. It's a poetry assignment. Please study the notes on poetry theory that forms part of the second term before attempting this activity. Know the definitions and know examples of what is a stanza. It's a group of verse lines. What is rhyme? What is imagery? Remember, poets use imagery to get their message across, to make us understand what they're trying to say. We have different types of imagery. We have comparisons and we have personification. There are 2 types of comparisons. There are similes and metaphors. They are identified with different words. So please look at those definitions and make sure you understand them. Then alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of consonant sounds. Assonance is the repetition of vowel sounds, etc. The mood is your tone of the poem. How does it make you feel? What is the mood created in the poem? Is it happy? Is it sad? Is it upset? Is it, social commentary, whatever. So look at those. I gave you some page references here. The glossary towards the end of your textbook on pages 262 to 262, you will see, for instance, it will show the word under A for under A, it will show alliteration, and then it gives you a short description of each concept or each term. Look at the glossary, because this will really assist you in being able to identify and to answer questions for this specific formal assessment and for other assessments that I've given you on poetry. And then the last one, task 9, it's in your textbook on page 106. This is about conducting an interview. I want you to study the theory on interviews on those specific pages. Remember, it will tell you that an interview uses formal language or sometimes informal language, but typically an interview is a very formal setup, so it will use formal language. There's always a question and an answer, because an interview is exactly that. You are interviewing a person and asking them certain questions about certain aspects of his or her life or happenings, and this person will then typically reply. There's a specific format which includes punctuation, etc. Although it's written typically in direct speech, in this instance we do not, like a play, we do not use the inverted commas. So familiarize yourself. The theory on interviews is grouped on those pages, page 97, page 100, and then 102 to 103. So first look at that, study it, before you attempt also to do this activity. And that concludes our first video lesson. Please stay healthy until we talk again. Thank you.